Chapter 9: Meditation, Observation, and Coca-Cola. What is meditation? Is it a simple form of concentration, focus, attention, presence and awareness, or is it some kind of gateway to reach superpowers, higher self, and higher intelligence? Is there such thing as enlightenment, yoga, transcendental meditation? Will this grant you access to control, to attraction, to abundance, or is it some kind of self-hypnosis and illusions? Let's clarify some misconceptions, question and investigate. When a person is simply trying to relax, to breathe deeply, to clear the mind and focus on his or her goals. When you simply try to remain still without reacting to mental images, without entertaining unpleasant thoughts, and without responding to emotions and feelings which are projected from the memory archive by the unconscious mind. This act of meditation means that the person belongs to a certain group of people, that he or she is associated with a category of belief system, or it means that the person possesses a particular state of supermind. When average people spend over 95% of their thinking on mind chattering and mind wandering between the past and the future, whether consciously or unconsciously. When ordinary people becomes overwhelmed by disturbing images, unpleasant thoughts and scary emotions without being able to stop them. Is this the natural state of the mind? Do we have to keep thinking at all time, or this happens to us because we have been programmed and conditioned by authorities to always keep thinking, to solve problems, to search for solutions, to try to solve puzzles even if they are not happening, until we became addicted to this kind of thinking process? Remember that you are the fuel. You are what sustain these emotions, images and thoughts. It feeds on your attention, your response, your reaction, and your attention is its monitor system to scale and weights how important it is to you. So when you simply choose not to respond, does it make you good or bad person? Do we have to respond to any mental images at all? Is this even possible? It requires skills and knowledge. So, let's discuss, doubt, investigate, question and find out by ourselves, not by the views and opinions of others who claims to have the authority and the right to tell us what it is and what to do. Meditation requires a technique, a method, an authority to show us what to do. It belong to anyone, to a particular group? Is it a belief system, or is it just a name, a label, and a brand like Coca-Cola chosen by authorities to limit its purpose and to assign it mysterious functions? When you try to fall asleep, anyone taught you how to do it, or it happens naturally? When your body become loose and relaxed, your breathing becomes slower and your heart rate dropped. When you stopped all forms of resistance and you surrounded yourself completely without divisions and conflicts. This sleeping process requires a method and a technique, or we have been simply born with this mechanism. It is innate within ourselves. Anyone is able to do it. So how come we became conditioned and programmed by the authority to tell us what to do and how to do it? During pregnancy, the baby is simply floating and swimming in the amniotic fluid inside mother's womb for 9 months without choking or drowning. What happens once the baby is born? The authorities start scaring the baby from water, frightening him or her from being drowning. Every time the child approaches water, the authorities shouts, punishes and prevents the child to approach water until the child becomes programmed and conditioned that water is dangerous and risky. Once we grow up, we became convinced that we need to learn how to swim to avoid being drowning and choking. So we are obligated to pay the authorities to teach us and told us what to do and how to do it. To be obedient and dependent without questioning and investigating. Some people spend their entire life without rest, fighting, struggling just to prove themselves worthy and better than others. While other people are caught in different trap of misery and misfortune. They believe that they don't deserve it and they will never have it. So they need to surrender and submit themselves to pain and suffering. So how can meditation help in this process? First, we need to understand how this happened by going deeply and directly to the source. Kindly keep in mind that this is an open discuss and dialogue to question, doubt, investigate to find out what it is. This is not an instruction and an authority to change opinions and beliefs. This is simply an invitation to observe and watch the methods and the techniques people use for thinking process and not to change the contents of thoughts and beliefs. At the beginning of the development of consciousness and awareness, the authorities have conditioned and programmed children unconsciously in many ways. Some children become badly conditioned and convinced that they don't deserve. For example, you are unworthy. Look at our neighbor's son or daughter better than you. Other children are overspoiled. Their sense of ego, me, I, mine is very strong. They grow up watching superheroes and believing they are invincible until they face different reality in life. If we take a look back at what have discussed and questioned in the previous chapters, we can notice clearly that the mind is composed of many layers. Some are conscious and others are unconscious, but they all work together simultaneously, and any forms of divisions, separation, prejudices, and resistance will always lead to conflicts. Once there is awareness, consciousness, presence and mindfulness, there will be synchronization, coherence and understandings. Unfortunately, awareness and consciousness always happens later in life after the brain has been adopted, attached, hooked, programmed and conditioned by outside authorities when we were children. Unconscious and unaware, and we didn't have a hand or a choice in all the informations, beliefs, events and circumstances, which have led to the current state of mind and body. So what is the role of meditation in all of this? In fact, the images, thoughts, emotions and feelings have been impeded and registered deeply in our psyche. So to be able to question, investigate, discuss and find out by yourself the truth and the reality of those programming and conditioning, it requires great deal of concentrate, focus and observation without prejudice and distortion. When you simply remain relaxed and still for a while, just observing and watching the movement of thoughts, emotions and images as it arises without taking any action and without resistance, the mind will reveal itself to you. But it will also try desperately to pull you backwards by all means of distraction towards past programming and past conditioning. So when you simply observe it and watch it as it forms and as it fades away without reacting and without responding, this is meditation. So this process requires a person to be dressed in special garments. It requires the person to consume certain drugs and substances. It requires the person to sit in particular position or to find a particular corner in the house. To maintain a certain body posture and gesture. To repeat particular chantings. It requires the person to be in a comfortable place. To go to a comfortable environment and to look for an ideal place. To find a good spot deep in the forest or on the top of a mountain or among a good group of people. Isn't all of these different types of programming? Isn't this kind of conditioning what a person is trying to break free from it and to detach himself from it at first place? To understand, discuss and investigate this concept, it demands great deal of awareness and mindfulness. What happens when a person finds himself in badder environment and neighborhood? What if a person can't find that particular garment, favorite dress and lucky object? What if those good people aren't around anymore? What if the person can't remember the exact chantings? For sure, As per this kind of mentality and belief, the meditation process won't work properly. So isn't the purpose of meditation to detach oneself from dependency, addiction, attachment and patterns of thoughts, repetitive images and emotions? How can a person see things clearly when he sees them from the eyes of others? In fact, once you are free from this conditioning, you can be meditating in any manner, anywhere and at any time, while walking, while sitting or even while laying down. You are your own supply. This is the truth. Everything you need is already inside you. You are born absolutely free and detached from any conditioning and programming. Each individual is unique and independent, but at the same time responsible and obligated to the group. So any kind of division, prejudice, and distortion will always lead to conflicts. So what do we mean by division and conflicts? You are your own memory. Your experience is what constitutes your personality. Any attempt to run away from your memory, to erase it, to struggle with it, to pleases it or to punishes it by any means, whether in forms of pain or pleasure, it will always result in division and conflicts internally within yourself and externally with others. So we need to simply learn how to observe and watch without distortion and prejudice. To clear the brain from habits and addictions which were registered in memory in the form of images, we need to avoid reacting, responding and entertaining any mental images and impulses projected by the unconscious and the hidden mind, which is simply programmed and conditioned to be this way. When two birds fight each other, usually the fight lasts few minutes and the birds go separate ways. They simply shake their wings to release any tension and continue to eat, rest and digest. How about human beings? Although their physical fight is over, they continue playing it in their heads over and over for years. What happens to the body when this state of mind continues? What chemical reactions are taking place inside body when brain is under stress, anxiety and confusion? Is it possible to avoid this condition at all? Let's find out. Once you observe and watch the movements of your mind consciously, you will find out that the brain is thinking in terms of images and simply it cannot make difference between reality and imagination. It responds to both of them the same way by sending signals to the body to react, to be alert and to be cautious. When a person is under stress and anxiety, the brain will send blood supply to the extremities of the body, to both hands and legs, to fight or to flight. This is very dangerous as it will keep the vital organs such as livers, lungs, and heart without sufficient blood supply to feed them with oxygen and nutrition. Without enough blood supplies, these organs are left without protection. They became vulnerable to existing bacteria and microbes. In fact, the brain always prioritizes safety. For example, when you are chased by a lion, the brain will send all blood supply to the legs to run away. It will withdraw any available blood from your stomach and send it to the front line to fight or to flight. This is why the face becomes pale when a person is scared. So, how long do you think the stress mode lasts in humans? Isn't this what weakens the immune system and makes the person exposed to illness and diseases? Once you understand these facts, would you keep entertaining mental images, or would you prefer to simply observe and watch without division and conflicts? Once all of these are cleared, we can discover our true nature and the reality we are living in. Once all that energy spent on mind chattering and overthinking is not wasted in vain but preserved to our well-being and the well-being of others. We have been taught by imitation and repetition of what the authorities told us what to do. No doubt such mind will be dull, stuck in the past, and caught in loops. But once the brain is cleared from all these conditioning and programming, It will see things as it is without labels and images from different perspective. Once the brain is detached and unconditioned from addictions, it will be innovative and creative. It will always come up with new ideas and innovations. So it's possible to benefit from such knowledge and mental faculty. Yes, it is possible. In fact, you can reverse engineering of the mental images of the unconscious mind by using visualization consciously. That is to say, you can choose to visualize consciously your memories in full details and in all colors. Your car, house, kitchen, neighborhood, room and anything. Simply picture any object in your mind and go through all the details in full colors. This will strengthen your memory and visual capacity. When the unconscious mind pulls you backwards towards old conditioning, bad feelings and thoughts, you will have developed mental capacity to simply ignore it. This is called emotional intelligence. So is it possible to live in peace and harmony? Can we avoid conflicts, division and wars? Is there a way to clean memories from feelings of hate, regrets and envy? How can we bring love and peace and happiness to our lives and the lives of others? This what we'll find out in the next chapter.